Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to look at one of the new releases by Hammer, the HammerHead. Alright, but before we do this thing, make sure you do the thing, hit that like, subscribe, turn on that bell for notifications so you know my content hits the internet. Alright, so what are we looking at? The new release HammerHead. From what I've seen so far, I just drilled it out at the Villages when I bowled the PBA 50 event there. This ball looks like a weaker 3D offset assault, and during this video we're going to compare both of those as well, so that way you kind of know the way I drilled it and where it fits in my arsenal. I also want to thank Pinchasers Veterans for allowing me to come out here, do my videos, do all my coaching. I really appreciate them. Let's get into this. All right, so there's the core numbers, and then the surface. This surface is out of box. I haven't changed it at all. And then the layout that I picked on this is going to be right there. It's going to be 60 by 4 3/4 by 40, dual angle layout. So like I said, I wanted this ball to complement the 3D offset, so we drill it that way to be a little longer, a little smoother. Didn't really want it to be a little bit angular. My 3D offset, the way I drilled the 55 by 4 3/4 by 35 layout, it's a little too sharp down lane, and then when the lanes get dry, it's a little too early. So I wanted this ball to really be more of a complement to that ball. So that's why I picked the layout that I did. All right, let's throw some shots. With this layout, this 60 by 4 3/4 by 40, I feel like when the ball comes off the dry like that one did, it's more of a continuous motion, where the 35-degree valve angle for me makes them a little bit quicker. And at first, when I first started drilling the balls, the 3D offset, and some of the other ones that I started out with, that 35 was like a stationary on the ball, so I could figure out where they fit and how to build an arsenal around them. But now that I've drilled about 28 bowling balls, I'm kind of figuring out what layouts are matching up to some of these balls, and it's looking pretty good. But since it is a symmetrical solid, it is going to be that weaker, that smoother type of shape. We are bowling on our fresher house shot today here at Pinchasers Veterans, so I wanted to showcase how basically the two balls, the 3D offset is going to be a little bit earlier, not as round, it's going to be a little quicker as well, but then this ball should complement in my arsenal. It's going to be, like I said, a ball down, but with the same shape. Move left a little bit, staying on 23, go around second arrow. Alright, so that one I gave it a little more room. You can see it's slower, it's smoother. It's not going to have that big change of direction, that quicker motion that you want to see sometimes out of a symmetric ball. The stealth mode for me, which I drilled with the 50 by 4.5 by 45 layout, it is a little bit quicker, more continuous down lane than this ball. But I wanted a symmetrical ball that was slower. That way, when the lanes maybe are the surface is a little more worn out and the 3D offset is not working, I can go to this HammerHead. All right, and that one, that's what I like to see. I got the ball in a little bit more oil, it skidded through the front. You can see the core revving up, and then it was just smoother off the dry. If I would have thrown a little more right, or if I would have played a little more right, it probably would have came off the dry a little bit sharper. All right, one more shot, and then we will throw the 3D offset to see the difference. Kind of drifting a little, kind of moving a little left a little too quick here. Play a little straighter. There we go, that's a really good one. And then even on this lane 38, you can see it's getting earlier. It's not really having that sharpness. So let me switch over to 3D offset and we'll show you the difference. Now this ball I really liked. I used it at the Villages on the fresh. Actually, I used it at Fort Myers on the fresh for a couple of games. Roll really good up. I'm drifting left here. All right, back to where I started with the HammerHead, so I can show you the difference. Like that. With some of the shots I was drifting left, I should have just stayed in my spot with the HammerHead. Probably would have shown it a lot better, but that ball is, I love that ball. Love that 3D offset. Now this ball I do keep at 1,000 grit. It is shining up a little bit. I have a little bit of play on it, so we're going to keep this at 1,000. That way it will read for the fresh on shorter patterns. So that way it will read that oil that's in the front and be nice and smooth off the back end of the pattern. All right, throw one more like that last one. All right, and we're already have a little bit of carry down. Topography, the lane a little bit weird. When we started out was a little bit quicker when I threw a couple shots, but both these balls are just, you can see they really complement each other well, and they have a very similar shape. This is another ball that I'm not going to go left or right with. It's going to keep my angles in front of me and stay on top of it, and then let the ball dictate when I change out of it. Oh, that's not a bad one. And after 3 shots, it's already getting slower. Maybe if I scratch up the surface a little bit, it'll make it a little bit easier to dig through the oil, but I'm not going to do it. All right, so now I'm switching back to the HammerHead foot. So some of you guys have the DV8 Troublemaker Solid. This ball looks like it's going to be a little bit quicker down lane than that one. Some of the guys were using it at the PBA 50 event at Lightning Strikes in Fort Myers. I didn't have either one of those, so I used a 3D offset and then special effect, and then also my Pure Envy. But I did drill this one for the villages, just in case the pattern got a little flatter on their 37-foot Wayne Webb version that we used. All right, let's go back to where I threw that other one with a 3D. There we go. With this house shot, there might be a little bit too much volume for both these balls right now because it is so fresh. Looks like my ball is getting down the lane a little too far, and then when it's not really, when it changes over to the dry, it's a little bit confused. Oh, 3-pin off spot. Let's move a little more right. See what that does. Play a little straighter. There we go. See, a lot better. See, with this ball, now it's showcased a lot weaker. I was doing a little too much left to right, but now that it played a lot straighter, it kept my follow through right in front of me instead of to the right, the ball made a better motion. Probably a ball I'm going to use when the lanes are transitioning a little bit, maybe in the track area to, I don't know, like 11, 12. All right, let's throw another one straighter, like the last one. These are the same angles I do have my urethane ball, but that pin placement is at 3 3/8, and this is 4 3/4. So since I like that version, I shouldn't say it. Since I like that shape of the urethane ball, that's why I went with the angles that I did on this ball. If I drill another 3D offset, I'm probably going to do the same angles, but I'll probably make that pin placement more like 5. Somewhere in there, that way it'll give me a little bit of length since that ball is a little bit earlier. All right, just for fun, let's go left and throw it right, just for fun, just to see. All right, so 25, gonna be in place in between second and third arrow after the dry. I'm gonna come around it though. There you go, way too much oil for that ball for me on this. Now it does, this ball, not sure how strong this cover is compared to the 3D offset. This is shining up pretty quick on this fresh oil pattern. So I'm probably gonna have to keep it more of a matte finish. That way it doesn't lose any of that. We see today I have a little bit of wiggle depending on where I throw it. If I keep it at the same surface all the time, I have a consistent roll all the time. Look at that sucker, look at that. Tripping the 10 forward. All right, let me throw the 3D offset a couple more times. I'll move left just so you can see how strong that one is compared. Let's get rid of the pin first. Now with some of these balls out on the tour as I use them, I am going with a little longer pin placements. I did a couple with 4.5-inch pins, the real time, the stealth mode, and the special effect. Those balls are for out there are flaring a little bit too much, so these drill angles of 60, 70, maybe using 4 3/4, 5-inch pins like I did with the other stuff is probably what's gonna happen. All right, so let's move left with this a couple times, then we'll switch back and finish this up. Oh yeah, you see, by playing in there compared to how I threw it with the HammerHead the last time, that ball is a lot stronger. The core is a little bit bigger. It's asymmetrical compared to the symmetrical that's in the HammerHead. So that ball is going to dig through the oil a lot better right now on this fresh out shot than the HammerHead will. So a couple more shots with the HammerHead. Some just go a little slower. Try to roll a little bit more, not so much around the side of it. There we go. Yep. In more oil, gave it a little more. I could do a little more left to right because that core helps me because it flares a little bit more than the symmetrical core. But they are very similar in shape, and that's why I drilled the HammerHead. I wanted to have those two options. All right, one more shot and we'll finish this up. Still the same thing, nice and straight. And lanes are changing. Just like I always tell you, can't end. Gotta make sure I strike. All right, make an adjustment left and we'll finish this up. Lanes are changing already. All right, we got a little over under. That ball definitely will have to keep the surface. As you can tell, I'm throwing more and more shots. It's getting shinier and the ball is just having some erratic ball motion right now. So if you guys got a higher rev rate, maybe that'll help you having a little less surface on it than having surface on it. All right, almost 810. All right, guys, that's my ball review on one of the new releases by Hammer, the HammerHead. As you can see from me, it really complements the 3D offset assault very well in my arsenal. And make sure you do that thing, hit that like, subscribe, turn that bell for notifications so you know my kind of hits the internet. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.